Hey guys, Jeremy here at my YMFG. This is my 2015 Ford. It's been wearing out front tires. So I took it into the tire place the other day. They put a couple tires on the front and I said, while it's in there, go ahead and align it. Well, they called me and said it needed inner tie rod ends. So I bought a whole set off the internet, carparts.com. It was under $100. So I got both inners and both outers. We're gonna try to put them on there today. See if we can get this thing to quit wearing tires out. Get them on, I take it back up and see if they'll line it for me. I've got it jacked up, got the wheels off. I haven't went any further yet. Haven't even looked at it myself really. But I'm just looking to see what it's gonna take to access the tie rods. There's a shield up here. You guys can see this one right here. It's like a fiber shield. I know it's got to come off, so I'm going to get that out of there and see what kind of access I have. See if I need to go any deeper than that. But let me get that off and I'll get you guys back in here. Got the front two out. Those were 13 millimeter on the front. The back two are small. I suppose they're a metric size, but for right now, it seems like a 5/16 is fitting them pretty good, so that's what I'm gonna use. All right, guys, there's that fiber shield off of there. There's a metal shield also here in the center. I'm calling this fiber. I don't know what it is. Like a fiber material. It slides underneath of this one. So after you get the 4 bolts out, the 2 big ones in the front, and 2 small ones in the back, which I ended up using 5/16 socket on. You got that loose and you kind of pull it down and slide it back and it'll come out from underneath this one. It's held in place with these J-clip captive nuts. I'm gonna put a little lightweight grease on those when I go back together so it's more likely to come off next time. Those bolts come out hard all the way. But with that off of there, we got a pretty good view of the steering rack now. So I think we'll just tear into this and see if we can get these tie rods off of here. Hopefully nothing else has to come off. Yeah, here's a look at this thing. It's like a cardboard fiber type thing. I don't know. This truck is a sport. It's a 2015 it's f150. Sport 4x4. I don't know if all of them have the same shields or not, is what I'm getting at. This one did. And these are the same part number on the tie rods for F150 2 and 4-wheel drives. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to start taking these off of here. Let's start by pulling the clamp back on this boot. Up in there they've got one of those metal locking things. Let's see if I can get you guys a view of that. There's that clip up there, right there. It's acceptable to use a zip tie going back together with those. I'm gonna pry on this one, see if I can get it to come off of there. Okay guys, I got that busted loose. I just took a screwdriver. All right, let's see if we can pull this boot forward. It's like a plastic retainer there that I think is going over our nut. me get that off there. I moved over to the other side here. I want to get this boot loose also. Right there, you can see the edge of that clip. Just get a screwdriver started under there and then hit it with a hammer or a ratchet or something. It'll pop right off of there. Reason I wanted to move to this side is I didn't really see anything wrong on the other side. Taking the tie rod end off of the steering knuckle now. Got a 10mm wrench holding the bottom hex part of that bolt. And then I think the top nut is 21mm maybe? Let me see. Yeah, 21mm and a 10mm. I gotta tell you guys, when I started loosening this, it wasn't very tight. And this started to rise up. It wasn't even pressed down in there good. I'm kind of thinking that might be where my whole problem was. I want to see what the other side's like as well here in just a second. Let me get this one off of here. Yeah, I got that loose, guys. On the ball joint from inner to outer, it was full of grease. I don't feel anything wrong there. Likewise, I don't think this end is bad either. I hadn't looked at it myself, just going off what the guys told me at the alignment shop, so I got all new stuff. Makes me wonder if I needed all new stuff. I don't know. Let me get I think a big crescent wrench up in there and see if I can get this broke loose. I got both outer tie rods off the steering knuckles. They didn't seem very tight to me. Not as tight as you would think a tie rod should be. And as soon as you got the nut off, they just lift right out. You know, they're supposed to really be cranked down and pressed in there. I'm wondering if somebody's messed with this before. Have they just come loose? The guys at the alignment shop had said, I believe, the inner tie rod end was bad on the passenger side. Not that I can see. I think they misdiagnosed it. I don't know if I needed anything other than tightening them up. I got the new ones. I guess I'm just gonna put them on. Sure don't seem like there's anything wrong with them to me. But anyway, I'll get you guys back in here in a second. All right, both ends are loose to steering knuckles. Ford makes a special wrench to get that nut off. Of course they do. But I've heard it said that you can just use a big crescent wrench on that. So that's what I'm gonna try here. Let's see if we can get that to spin off of there. Then I'll show you what's gonna happen next. All right, guys, that spun right off there. I just got a crescent wrench on that nut, pulled on a little bit, come right off. I gotta tell you, nothing seems very tight on this truck as far as steering components go. Makes me a little nervous. Anyway, I'm gonna take this inside and match it up, do some measurements, and show you what we gotta do next here. Okay, this is the one off the passenger side. We got to get the new ones on as close as we can to where the old ones were at. And we're going to be driving it straight to the alignment shop, but we do want to make sure that it's going to drive 25 miles to get there. The parts I got may not be exactly like these parts. So we don't want to be counting threads and trying to do stuff like that. It just might not work if you was to do that. We got this mating surface right here that fits right up to the steering rack. That's a static point that's not going to change. So if we measure off of that right there to the center of where it hooks into the steering knuckle, I'm going to say it's about 15 5/8. So I'm going to write that down. 15 and 5/8. Now we're going to take the new ones out of the box and get a look at them. If you're looking at both inners, they're exactly the same. Same length, same surface, same everything. This is something here to take note of though. See how this one has this raised part right here that I just measured off of? This one does not. And this one's got a much bigger surface area to get a wrench. See the difference there? So when I take that measurement, I'm going to be measuring right off of this edge of this nut, because before I measured off of that mating flange right there. So it'd be the same as doing that, if you know what I'm trying to say. The overall length is the same. So we just got to make sure we don't measure. We don't want to measure off this part of the nut. We want to measure off of here on this one. And then on this one, right to the end. Okay. Now these are directional. One's bent to the left, one's bent to the right. It's going to be important not to mix these up. Now looking at this one, this is the one I'm going to want for this side. But you can see everything is shaped different. See how everything's different about that? That's why you wouldn't want to just try to measure threads or something, because these are not made by the same manufacturer. But as long as we've got our 15 and 5/8 from the center line here to the back of this flange here, that's what we're going to want. So I could start assembling that. However, I do need to get this boot off of the old one so I can put it back on the new one. So I'm going to take this out in the vise and get this broke loose. And now that I know what the measurement is, I can do that. And then we'll just get all the pieces we need off of here, which is just this clamp and this boot. And then we'll start reassembling here. Take another measurement, do the other side the exact same way. That ought to be close enough to get us to the alignment shop. I'm not going to tighten this nut until it's on the truck because I might have to turn that one way or the other. Yeah, I guess it turns in the ball joint up here. But either way, it'll be easier for me to snug that down after it's in. So I'm going to go out and try to get this on and do the next one. Okay guys, I turned this spindle over this way as far as I could go. Make room so I could thread that in by hand. So that's threaded in now as tight as I can get it by hand. I get a wrench on there and tighten that up. That plastic cap that went back behind there and slid over that nut, it split when I peeled it off of there, when I pushed it back. But it doesn't do anything. I think the reason it's on there is to hide the fact that that's a nut, so the average guy wouldn't know how to take it off. I think that be the only purpose that would have. It can't possibly do anything other than that. So let me get this snugged up now. Onto the driver's side. Just got the crescent wrench on there. See if we can get this one to break loose. I'm gonna have to put the camera down for a second. Got it broke loose. Don't take too much to break them loose. Roll it up. Just spin her off of there. Got the next one off. I just took the old one back in the vise, got it apart, got our boot and stuff back on the new one. Measured it before I disassembled it. It was 15 3/8. One on the other side was 15 5/8. But that ought to get us in the ballpark. The truck wasn't aligned right before, right? That's why we got to take it in. But it ought to at least be close to where it was, so I know I'll be able to drive it without any trouble. And then the other side, as far as how tight did I tighten everything, I tightened this just as tight as I could get it because it's a steering component. You're not going to break it. I mean, if you can break it by hand, well, that's not a very good steering component. And the same way with these, I held that with the 10 millimeter, put the 21 millimeter on it, and I just torqued them as tight as I could. After I got that tight, I give her a smack with a hammer on the wrench, just kind of torque it a little bit, because those were not very tight before. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know they're got to be tighter than that, or they should be. So we're gonna get this guy back on here, and then I don't think I'm gonna put the wheels back on. I might do brakes tomorrow. It just seems like a good idea while I got the wheels off. You know, I don't want to have to take them off again at least till spring. I get through the winter all right. You know, this is November. So I get the brakes on it too. I know I should be good for a while. Let me get this back on, get everything snugged up, tight, everything. And I'll go pick up some brake pads in the morning and call that alignment shop. And I'm not sure. I think those guys gave me bad information. No, I don't think there was anything wrong with the ones I took off. I don't know why they thought there was. I didn't see anything wrong with them. But anyway, it's what it is. At least I know they're new, right? Maybe I should save the old ones. Got that plastic retainer back in there that covered that nut. We'll peel that back out of there. We're not going to be reusing those. They, I'm not sure they'd even fit the aftermarket tie rods. Make sure our nut stays snug there so when we twist this in, we don't get any movement. I need to turn this as far as I can. Okay. Now let's see if we can spin it in there. want to make sure our lock nut here doesn't move. Okay. Try to tighten this nut. Okay. With this boot, I don't know if you guys can see this. See that groove right there? That is where this boot wants to fit. You can feel it. It just dropped into place. So that goes right there. And then take our needle nose. Get that clamp back on. So that boot's all in place, other than I got to get a couple zip ties on it. Right now, I'm just looking at the tapered hole down through my steering knuckle, this cast aluminum steering knuckle. With these not being tight, or I didn't think they were tight anyway, I didn't want to see that hole wallered out. If it looked egg-shaped or ununiform in any way, I would have been a little concerned there. It appears to be fine. Let's see if we can get this turned. We're gonna turn it against our lock nut so we're tightening and not loosening it. Pull this knuckle back in. Push our tie rod into place. Okay. And we'll start the nut. We'll start torquing that down here. Got a couple of these big long zip ties. They're about, they're probably about 3/16 of an inch wide. They're ribbed all the way down, so those should tighten up on there fine. And they're definitely not going to break or go anywhere. Let's see if we can get these on there. Yeah, those fit back in there nicely. They were about the same width as the original clamps. There's the other one. So anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. I just got to put that shield back on under there and put the wheels back on. But like I say, I think I'm going to do brakes tomorrow. I might make another video of that, separate video. But anyway, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's how I just put tie rod inner and outers on my 2015 F150. So I'm going to get up to the alignment shop, have them do the alignment, check everything, and hope for the best, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all them things. This is Jeremy. We'll catch you on the next one. Later, guys.